Okay, everyone, I'm with Russ and Richard, and we're going to talk about cute animals who are going on adventures because we're talking about animal adventures, which some of you might have seen, cute little doggos dressed up as paladins and warriors and bards and things like that. And Doggies and Dungeons, I think, was basically the name of the miniature sets, right?
Yeah, Dungeons and Doggies.
Dungeons and Doggies, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And we're talking about this because you're working on another installment, because we are getting more of the miniatures and more background material. What are you preparing?
Well, I'm going to suggest, Richard, you want to give us out that you're very good at the sort of high concept pitch about what the new expansion's all about. So take it away.
Okay, so what we're putting together is called Animal Adventures: The Faraway Sea. It's kind of a follow-up and a major expansion to the Animal Adventures universe, in which your animal adventurers get to go out into this great ocean where there's this magical storm, this magical vortex, out of which occasionally emerge islands with strange supernatural effects and powers generated by the core of the island, its spirit, which the spirit of the place, the essence of the island, the genius loci. And obviously, who doesn't like cool magic items? All animals do. My cats do. All animals do. As you'd expect, nearby this magical storm where you can get awesome stuff, a floating city, which you can see just behind Russ. You can see some of the concept art for Flotsam. Has grown up, which is basically loads of old lashed together ships and detritus that's floated out, and this kind of this community of explorers and treasure hunters and bandits has grown up there, and they go out into the mysteries of the faraway sea to see what they can discover. And that's basically what we're bringing. We're bringing a source book, which gives you all the details on that. It's got adventures, plot hooks, island write-ups, and most importantly, new rules for the awesome new animal miniatures we're bringing.
Okay, so far we've had with the other two installments of Animal Adventures, we've had cats and dogs, because who doesn't like cats and dogs? You're going a little bit more exotic with this one, so things you might not have as your house pet.
Yes, that's there are a few animals that you might consider as pets, but there's definitely a few that you probably wouldn't. We decided that we really wanted to expand the setting, and one of the sort of underlying themes within the book is whatever mysterious power is creating these strange swirling mists that lead through to the islands might also be responsible for more and more animals developing awakened senses and becoming keen on taking up the adventuring life and becoming the heroes of their own stories. So to that end, we've designed a large group. I think we're at sort of between 10 and 12 entirely new animal characters that aren't dogs or cats. We're doing more cats and dogs as well, because of course we are. We've tried to create a really interesting spread of animals, and Richard's team is producing a whole section in the book which will give you playable rules for everything from we've got bird characters, we've got a very cool little otter who's probably one of my favorites.
Wait, a sea otter or a freshwater otter?
Well, we planned him to be a sea otter, but he's kind of got a freshwater otter vibe. In fact, if you like, I can share my screen and we can take a look at him.
Oh yes, I'd very much like to see that.
1 second.
When you do see him, you'll think, that's a freshwater otter.
Because he's got that freshwater vibe.
No, it's just that.
We don't want to see that yet. This animal is my screensaver and not part of the range, I should point out. Okay. Anyway. So
that's not an otter.
That is not an otter. Bonus character. This is Harmony. This is our alpaca. She's a bard.
She's a freshwater alpaca.
She's a freshwater alpaca, yes. You can tell by the lack of fins. She's got she was designed to have a sort of disco vibe. So her magic item is this sort of crystal that acts like a glitter ball and encourages people to dance and have a good time.
She's also got a very 70s hairstyle.
She does have a very 70s hairstyle, and the concept art. She was designed by the wonderful and talented April Prime, who has returned to give us more amazing characters. And the artwork is the whole thing is in these warm 70s colours, and it just has this fantastic kind of disco vibe. But she is not an otter, so let's find our otter. There he is. Let's zoom in a bit so we can see him clearly. So this is our otter, who I believe we're naming Osric. And he is a cleric. And he's going to serve as our sort of narrator character for the campaign. And in my head, he has the same sort of vibe as Sir Didymus out of the Labyrinth movies. He's got that kind of.
He's got the moustache.
Absolutely,
yes. Sir Didymus. Very fitting. And yes, he's got a freshwater vibe looking at his.
He does have a freshwater vibe, doesn't he? While we're in here, did you want to have I've got a couple more characters on the screen if you want to talk about some of the animal choices that we're looking at.
Oh, yes, please. Anything you are already allowed to show us in preparation of the Kickstarter?
Well, I've opened up very specifically the animals I was told I was allowed to share. We can get into how many characters and how many miniatures that are going to be in the set in a few minutes, but let me just walk you through what we've got here. So that's our otter, and obviously we've seen Harmony the alpaca. Okay, so this one's a lot of fun. This is our rabbit, who is he's a monk, in case there was any doubt at all, which is designed by the amazingly talented Tom Lishman on our sculpting team, who's done an absolutely fantastic job. And this is one of along with some of the other models, one of the things that we always try to do with the range is try and make sure the models are plausibly still just the animals that they were. So we studied a group of photographs of rabbits jumping and using their back legs to see off aggressors and make sure that the pose that we went for was actually something that a rabbit could do. Because just as with our cats and dogs, these animals are still meant to be animals. They're not meant to be little humanoids with animal heads. They're still meant to be quadrupeds or what have you, depending on which animal it is. So that's our rabbit monk. And then, this is a fun one. This is our paladin.
That's an ibex. What?
It is. It is.
Excellent animal eye.
And this animal has a companion animal who I'm not going to show right now. But when you see the two of them together, there's a definite nod to a classic wandering warrior and his ward. And I shall say no more about that at this time, but
I guess it might be a cub of some
it
kind.
might be something quite small and yes, young
And cute. Okay.
So that's our paladin, and then because Tasha's came out and introduced the artificer class as part of core 5th edition, we decided that we needed an artificer represented within the game, which we've not had as a character class option before, and there didn't seem to be a better animal choice for a mechanical artificer than an orangutan. So this is our artificer.
And our little Terry Pratchett tribute.
And our little tribute to the great and much missed Mr. Pratchett, yes.
So he loves libraries.
He does love a library, this fellow.
Very nice. And he's got his little mechanical bird too.
He does. You've got to have a little mechanical bird. I mean, if you don't, are you even trying? So there he is. And then I've got one more for you. So within the Kickstarter, as always, we're going to have a Kickstarter exclusive for our backers, and it's I said to Tom that we needed a baby Kraken model, and Tom being Tom, he dialed it up to 11. So we have a baby Kraken driving around in a little wagon so he can keep nice and moist because it's full of water. And I think he's working as a sushi chef by the looks of it. But this is our baby Kraken, who's a delightful little chap.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about how these guys are going to be playable and how you get them. So you've got rule sets for the new awakened animals, and just quickly, you said those are not like anthropomorphic animals, those are just animals who have been awakened in some kind of way. And I've always wondered, by the way, how the dog always used the swords.
A
wizard did it.
A wizard did it. That's a very good explanation. I can very much imagine how the orangutan would use his tools, though.
I always think that if you're asking too many questions about that, then maybe this isn't the game for you.
Important point. So this is all meant to be integrated into 5th edition.
It does, yes.
And so the idea is that you can drop other characters into an animal adventure game, or put, if the GM is happy with it, or play an awakened animal in another Dungeons and Dragons game. That's nice.
Yeah, one of the key things about Animal Adventures is that this is to be integrated into. You could use this in a Forgotten Realms game. You could use these rules in, if you wanted to, I don't know, if you go really old school and you want to play in Greyhawk, you could have Animal Adventurers in any 5e game. Now, obviously, we've got the Animal Adventures world and we think it's wonderful and we'd love you to come and explore in it. But if you wanted to, you could take these rules and you could play an awakened animal that you just happen to meet in any dungeon. You know, wandering along the Sword Coast, there's an alpaca who happens to be able to talk, and you could happily go to Baldur's Gate with this talking alpaca and be the talk of the town.
With the talking, dancing bard alpaca.
Talking, dancing disco alpaca.
And you said, we are going to talk about how many miniatures, how many of these basically pre-generated animal characters are going to be part of the set you're producing. How many are you looking for?
So with this set, we're looking at about 23 core models in the set. Now, Gullet Cove, which I thought I had a copy of to hand, I do. Gullet Cove, I don't know if
which was the second installment of
Animal Adventures? And that was our first core book and introduced the setting of Gullet Cove and has all the cat and dog rules in. This came with 25 miniatures, but that included some duplicate models of were-rats and other bad guys and villains. What we've done, because we're expanding the hero roster so much, all of the core models are unique hero characters. So you're getting 23 completely unique cats and dogs and alpacas and goat and all the rest of it. And it will be, each one will be a unique character that Richard will be working on statting up and creating a full set for. So in terms of pre-generated character material, there is a lot of models in that set. And we are doing like some bad guy and monster models as well, but our focus is on making sure that we really expand out the range of animals and the options in terms of what people want to play, because we found that there seems to be such a sort of passion for the heroes and the characters and their personalities and backstories that we really wanted to give as much of that as we could fit in.
Okay. And we've seen the 3D renders. I guess the miniatures are going to be the same quality as they've been before, so plastic miniatures in size comparable to other 5th edition miniatures.
Yeah, absolutely, okay. Yeah.
And I'm quite curious how you handle the rules and how you put the special abilities of characters like a rabbit or an orangutan into the game. Have you kind of an example? If you have different move rules or feats or something for these guys?
So the way I approach it is basically to move rules. You can sort of eyeball, a tiny rabbit is probably not going to move quite as far as a human. So maybe you go 25 feet, 20 feet for the movement. But in terms of coming up with the special abilities, that is a combination of a little bit of research. So, knowing enough about the kind of animals' biology and how they act is useful. And then also kind of the cultural idea we all have or share of these animals. So, for instance, the goat is probably the best example that, everybody knows the fairy story of the three Billy Goats Gruff crossing over the bridge and the troll coming out and then wanting to get to the other side. So clearly Billy Goats are good at taking on trolls. So you build an ability around that. So maybe they get advantage against trolls or against goblinoids, and you kind of work with that to make something which is roughly balanced with everything else. You don't want to you can't have an animal which is ludicrously more powerful than, an elf or a dragonborn or something, but you can, use a bit of artistic license, and at the end of the day you come up with something that's fun, and that's the most important thing. They have to be fun to play and they have to be cool.
And talking about fun to play or just being fun, the Kraken baby, is that actually meant to be a playable character, or is that just a miniature for fun?
That is definitely, it is a monster in the book, because very early on Russ and I were spitballing ideas, and I said baby Kraken. I hadn't really given it much more thought than that, except that I thought a cute Kraken would be kind of fun. And as often happens with the sculptors, who I am obliged to say are a team of sexy geniuses, they take my half-formed, slightly insane ideas and turn it into something truly, truly wonderful. And I think hopefully it will become something everybody loves as much as me.
Okay. Looking at what you are going to offer at the Kickstarter, you have a core book, a new one, or basically not a core book, but a book that explores these shifting islands, these disappearing and reappearing islands, and I guess also the artifacts, because you said that's an important part of why the adventuring animals go there. So are we going to get long lists of interesting new items and things like that?
So there's going to be 10 islands, I think, currently in the book, 10 to 12. And each island has its own unique magic item. But these aren't they aren't magic items with fixed limits or that you have to attune to, or, a certain number of charges. These are these work in a more holistic way. They give you long-term background benefits. They just boost you a little bit, because obviously removed from the island, the essence is less pronounced, but it's still there, and it kind of permeates the party or the individual carrying it. So we're trying to, in a kind of low-key way, offer a new take on magic items.
Okay, interesting. And then most important question, of the new characters that the two of you and the team of sexy geniuses have created, which one are your favorites, or are those one of those we haven't even seen yet?
As a die-hard Discworld fan, I can't get past the artificer, who every time I have to struggle not to call him the librarian, because I can just see. I mean, those tools will be so useful for getting books down and filing and getting bananas and generally messing people up in the Broken Drum. So he is, he has my heart.
I'm a huge fan of the otter. I make no secret of that fact. I do love that little otter. But there is a little eucalyptus eating marsupial druid that I think is going to really win some hearts.
Yes, yeah, I can imagine that. I'm looking forward to that one, definitely. Okay. When is this all going to start, and what can people expect from the Kickstarter? What things might be added to, apart from, of course, that they can get their hands on a baby Kraken?
So launch date, I believe, is the 20th of July. And when we launch, we're going to have a range of options for people. One of the pieces of feedback that we received on Gullet Cove was that although the single pledge level was very convenient, some people they didn't feel it met the specific things they were interested in. So we're trying to broaden that out and try and make as many people happy as we can. And then during the campaign, we've got plans to, well, we're going to reveal some more adventure content. Richard's working on some more interesting written content that we're not quite ready to talk about yet, and we will closer to the time. And I'm really excited because during Gullet Cove, we were able to do a sculpt of Queenie, the corgi trader, because people fell in love with her artwork and the community got really behind having that as a character. So we've got a couple of ways we're going to get the community really involved in some character design and character ideas that will directly lead to some additional miniatures that we haven't even created yet, because we want the people who choose to join the campaign to feel that they are part of that creative process, and they can have a say in bringing some new characters into the world.
Okay.
So that's going to be very exciting.
Okay, so basically voting for ideas.
And doing some live stream stuff, getting in there and literally telling me where to push the pen in some cases.
So you are actually going to be live sculpting?
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a really good idea that can't possibly go wrong.
Never. But it also sounds like a nice way to get the community to take part in.
I think so. I mean, I'm sure everyone who has a Kickstarter says this sort of thing, but I think we are very lucky to have an amazing community. It's super supportive. They've always been lovely, lovely people. When we've had the chance to meet them at events. Remember events?
Vaguely.
When we've met them, they've all been amazing, and it's just this is another opportunity to do something special for those people, and I'm really excited for it.
They have been a big part of shaping the Faraway Sea and where Animal Adventures is going, hopefully in the future.
Okay, then thank you so much, the two of you, and of course, best of luck with the Kickstarter.
Thank you.
Looking forward to tiny marsupials that might come along as druids. Very, very interested in that one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day, you two.
Bye all.
Bye.